Welcome to Make Me Care, Grist's new video series in which writers and editors try to convince you that their story of the week is worthy of your time. I'm Amelia Yuri, and this week I'm here with Greg Hanscom, senior editor and writer and resident bike enthusiast at Grist. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Amelia.
Greg has been writing dispatches from cities that are already facing some serious climate impacts and likely to face more. A few months ago, he was in Miami, and now he's telling us about Las Vegas. So, first of all, Greg, yes or no, this was all a pretense to get a business trip to Vegas?
Oh, it totally was. It totally was. No, you're kidding me. Actually, I spent a pathetically small amount of time actually enjoying all that Vegas has to offer. I spent most of my time off of the Strip.
The true reporter. Work comes first.
Swear to God.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about this recent story? I want to know how is water shortage not the biggest problem facing a city built in the desert?
I think we have this story about Vegas that we love to tell ourselves, and that is that Vegas is this city that was built in the middle of the Mojave Desert. This is a place that gets 4 inches of rainfall in a year. Okay, here in Seattle, that's like a good afternoon. And you see these stories in the papers, sort of story after story about how it's just ridiculous that Vegas exists in the first place. And I think there is some truth to that. However, what I found when I went to Vegas last month was that ultimately, shortage of water is not the biggest problem that this city has. Water is certainly an issue. The city gets 90% of its water from the Colorado River, which has been running a little short of late, and it dumps more than half of the water it pulls out of that river onto lawns. So water is an issue, but frankly, I think we would all have to be pretty stupid to actually run out of water before we just sort of turned the sprinklers off. So I think Vegas is probably going to keep the taps running for the foreseeable future, although that is a challenge at times. But I think that the thing about Las Vegas is that it is really vulnerable to climate impacts. It's just in ways that we don't really think about. As the head of one of the University of Nevada in Las Vegas business school departments told me, the biggest vulnerability that that city has is a lack of economic diversity. It all rides on the Strip. It all rides on those casinos and restaurants and strip shows that we all love to go see. And once those dry up, everything blows away.
So let's talk economic diversity then. How does climate change make Vegas more vulnerable in this way?
To get a sense for just how vulnerable Vegas is, look at the national economic collapse and the world economic collapse back in 2007. A lot of places were hit really hard by that, but Vegas was just completely brought to its knees. And if you look at that city, if you look at sort of the numbers for visitors to the Strip, they went down. They also started spending a lot less, the people who did make it. But if you look outside the Strip at the city of Vegas and the metro region of Vegas, which is the size of Seattle, this is a metro region of 2 million people. These people got hit incredibly hard. Almost no city in the country sort of boomed the way that Vegas did during the housing bubble, and almost no other city busted the way that Vegas did. For example, a 2012 report found that the value of the average house in Vegas had declined 60%. And the majority of the people in that town were underwater with their mortgage.
I think I heard you say the average house in Las Vegas. Are you saying there are average houses in Las Vegas? It's not all the Strip?
Yes, there you go.
I feel like that would surprise some people.
Yeah, the Strip is actually not even in the city. The Strip sits in Clark County. That's outside the city of Las Vegas proper. The Las Vegas Valley in the metro region is actually an urban area the size of Seattle or Baltimore. About 2 million people live there. And a lot of them are just middle-class folks, folks who came to Las Vegas because Vegas has jobs. These jobs pay decent wages. You know, you can go to Vegas, you can get a job at one of these restaurants or the casinos or the hotels, make a decent living, and actually own a little place in suburbia. If you want to look at the sustainability of Vegas, I don't want to make Las Vegas out to be some model of sustainability because it's not. Something like 70% of its economy rests on the Strip. And the Strip relies completely on imported tourists. 40 million a year come in, driving up the interstate from California or flying in from all corners of the world, burning untold amounts of jet fuel and gas to get there. That in itself, I think, should dispel any notions that this city is in a sustainable position. But that, again, sort of makes you think even more about how important it is for this city to build an economy that's built on more than just that Strip.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think Vegas can or will become more sustainable economically as well as environmentally?
It's possible, yes. Whether or not that is going to happen kind of remains to be seen. There are some really interesting projects in the works right now. I'm not going to tell you too much because that's what my next story is about. But absolutely.
Can you give us the tiniest of teasers?
The tiniest of teasers is that my next story will be starring, or at least co-starring, a woman whose business card calls her the pixie of positivity. And if she has anything to say about it, Vegas is going to be around for a good long time.
Well, that's pretty amazing. My last question is a softball. Did you like Vegas more after you were there?
I totally did, yes. I mean, I think like a lot of people, I have this funny sort of love-hate relationship with Las Vegas. You know, it's this town that we really do sort of, we fantasize about Vegas, you know, drying up and blowing away. You know, this is a city that was built by the mob. It exists purely to sort of, you know, hang us upside down and shake all the chains out of our pockets. And yet, as I was reminded when I was there, it's also a city with a lot of people, a lot of residents who really care about it. And whether or not you like sort of what it stands for or the economy that it is built on, Vegas has been around for a while now, and it has some interesting tricks up its sleeve. And I think that it's a fascinating study in sort of climate resilience. Vegas is not what people think it is. It's a much more sort of complicated, diverse, interesting, and probably resilient city than we think.
Thanks for joining us on Make Me Care. It was great to have you, Greg.
Well, thanks much.
That's all that I have.